Hey guys, how y'all doing? Yeah, no, today is going well. We're doing a little bit more on prompting. I know that this kind of came out a bit late. The stream invite. It was more a I woke up this morning and was like, oh, that thing that I was meant to do. Yeah, haven't done that. So I'll just give a few minutes while everyone comes in, and then we can like dive in. I've put the prompt, the everything in here already, so hopefully we should have that. Um, and yeah, I think this will be a bit of a weird stream because it's like an hour different for like everyone in America because I believe Europe has like changed hours. Oh no, sorry, Europe hasn't changed time zones to summertime yet, but America has. So this is all a bit later. So you've had a bit of a lie-in before today's class. Hello, Jean Luc. Hello, Nikki. Okay, people are okay. So the messages have gone out. Hopefully, more people will come in. But if not, we can all watch the replay as always. Um, as I was saying, the link is already in the description and in the comments. Like not comments, the live chat. You know that kind of thing. But yeah, I hope you're all doing well. Okay, so we, as you're all aware from one of our past updates, we no longer do. Um, Hello, Emery. We no longer like kind of have to push updates like we can do it like once a week or whatever. We kind of just do them live in the background and give you like summaries of what's going on. So one of the last summaries we gave since last week was we've done some little tweaks to the codex for those of you who have like dots in, um, but it doesn't affect titles where like Americans have the Doctor dot, whereas like British English doesn't. But like that kind of stuff doesn't get affected. But when it's like an acronym, that's there. Oh, morning, Bonnie. I hope it does as well. We'll have to see how much we end up using Claude. If not, I'll have to swap to another model, which will be a travesty. Speaking of, we've now added Claude 3.7 into all the system prompts, as well as done a bit of a rejig of them to like remove any models that like don't exist. Hello, Cicely. Hope you're doing well. Um, and we've also improved the Google AI Studio. So if you use that to connect to like the Gemini models or Gemma, you no longer need to type out each model into it. We now just pull up the entire model list. So kind of quality of life, little bits and bobs, you know. We've also done some of the fixes and kind of like visual glitches solved and, you know, all that good thing. Okay, so we are going to have a little look into prompting, but not quite in the way that you might be thinking yet. This is going to be how we can tailor our prompting without having to actually look at the prompts and do anything there. We've kind of covered and touched base on this a little bit throughout the last few classes, but we're going to do a comprehensive deep dive into that before we then look at more like in-depth prompty things. Like 80% of the time, you don't need to like go into the prompts if you don't kind of want to because you enjoy it and like you're trying to like geek out and try things, you know. So the system prompts that we have already give the AI a wealth of information. They give the critics, they give your outline, they give prior written words, but what if you want more? And then Corey has some fun finding gifs that represented that. You're welcome. So first of all, I want to go into when you want to create a new prompt and when you don't necessarily need to. So Corey, is my mic sounding weird for you as well? Normally tell me if it is. So when do you want to create a new prompt versus when don't you? So you want to make a new prompt when you're using the same prompt across different series. So if you had like something like a style prompt, you might want to be like, okay, I'm going to be using this in multiple series, so it won't fit with the codex entry. So then I'm going to put the information just into a prompt straight away. Oh, other people are losing me. Oh, maybe it's just like the time lag, and at the beginning I was a bit out. Who knows? Um, you might also want to use a completely new prompt if you want the prompt to do lots of different things at once, or like different stages, and it's like you don't want to add confusion or be confused yourself and know the different stages. You just want to have it all there, the information. If you end up typing the same things over and over again, it might, or having to refer to the same thing, you might want to make a prompt to cover all your bases. If the codex or giving sources in chat doesn't give you what you want to solidify the output structure, you might decide then. And also when you know you're going to be using the prompt a lot. At what point does it become too much work to make the codex entries? Give the drunk Claude anecdote. I can't remember this now, Corey. Can you give me like a key word? What was the drunk Claude anecdote? I think what this was in the drunk Claude prompt. Oh yeah, so you can't replicate drunk Claude via the codex because drunk Claude doesn't use the codex. So if you have a prompt that never reads the codex because we want it to make its own decisions, then you can't use the codex for kind of prompting. And like all of this, it's very different to the original kind of like default prompts. So times like this, you would want to pop that in. You don't need a new prompt when you only need that prompt for one series or subject. You can get away with having like some kind of codex entry to help. You want the prompt for one framework, and then we'll switch back to using the general purpose prompt anyway within the same chat. If you know what you want to ask in that moment and you don't need to be handheld in a framework, like if you're happy to ask the questions and respond with the chat and you feel confident enough that you know how to get the answers you want, oh no. Testing. Does this... I mean, it sounds okay to me. Oh no. That's awkward. I mean, my internet's plugged in. I don't see what I can do to change this. Okay, I mean, if it sounds fine now, who knows? Maybe putting my headphones in. I didn't even plug them in. Maybe putting my headphones on makes a difference. Who knows? Anyway, so yeah. This is a great list. It's a good thing we're not having to like condense this down for anything, you know? Ugh. Right. I have no idea what that was. Okay. Time zone changes really make things crazy. Who'd have thunk? Okay, so don't need a new prompt. If you only want a specific prompt for like one series, if you feel confident enough using your prompts or like using like chatting with the AI, and you don't like feel like you need a world building to like walk you step by step, that then you don't really need a prompt. If you're just wanting to reformat codex entries and like, you know, take your characters like from a paragraph to then making things for details, you don't really need a prompt for that. Like you can do that yourself. Don't I always sound awesome? No, I'm joking. But yeah, so you've got the, you know, it's working out where the bar of slight F is. Like at what point does it become more effort to stay in the interface without changing the prompt compared to going and actually writing a prompt for it? And I think at the end of the day, everyone has their own standard for this. Like, it may be that you are like, you just want everything kind of just to go on in the background and you're happy to put the time in advance, get the prompts out, or set up for your genre, and then you just want to be done with it. Or it might be that you don't want to think about prompting in the Slahootist, and you're like, okay, no, I'm just going to use like other things, and I'm happy to write a long message into chat. I know what it will get me, and it means I don't have to think about anything else. Like if you were working with ChatGPT or Claude, that kind of thing. It's kind of like working out your barrier to entry, you know? So obviously these tips will help, but work out what your barrier is and at what point you're just like, okay, let's find a prompt for that. Or at one point you're like, no, I want to avoid these like the plague. I feel I kind of now want to know, so guys, what is your barrier? Like at what point do you decide that it's too much work to make a prompt and you'd rather just type things out, or vice versa? Like, what is your barrier to prompting? So while I wait for those, I think you will have kind of already seen this in use. If you have a genre entry in your codex for any novel or project, or you have a style guide there, these are global entries that essentially act as they're put into the system message of your prompt. They're used in the prompting without actually like your thought. Like you just think, oh, add a style guide. But no, that is you changing the prompt. That is you being like, I want you to write in this style. Use this style guide. Or the story we're writing is in this genre. So without even thinking about it, you are prompting already if you have made those codex entries. They're really just those kind of like mini templates that just have less structure, or as much structure as you put in it. And I think what we can do with that is take what we've learned and apply it to other templates from like previous classes. We'll have a quick look. We'll dive in. Let me go into Only Dogs Left. If I go into my codex, so my genre is post-apocalyptic dystopian sci-fi set on Earth, limited technology. So that's kind of already priming the AI. My style guide actually is really like, if I didn't use my previous writing as a style guide, this would need like working on. But still, it's telling the AI how to write without necessarily being a bullet pointed set of instructions. I'm kind of telling it what the priorities are. And that really helps just kind of bring everything together. If I clear that, go back. So something else that people often use codex entries for changing the prompt. So character bios. Now, that you know the information you want to add into your codex when you're starting a story. Think of all those like 100 question sheets that we have. That like in the noughties, everyone was like using. You Google it, get a list of questions, write it out, spend like days like making the perfect character bios. Like I know I did. It was like a time sink, but it was great. But now, rather than having to specify or ask for every single character, you like every time you brainstorm something new, you can then refer to like a character questions codex entry, or what I call it, and get that to do the work for you. You might be like, I don't know, let's say we're doing this and I have I mean, I have no idea. Okay, I've asked Sam if he can stop streaming and see if that helps. That's so weird. I'll keep the headphones in. What are we doing? Yep, it's all Sam's fault. Character. Let me know if it gets better or if it's still being dodgy, because I want to be able to tell him he can turn his stuff back on. Oh, it's okay now. Well, that might be because he's turned it off. Okay, so we might be like, we've got a character template. We want, when asked to use the character template, help restructure all of the character information into the following format. And then we might be like, name, age, brief physical description, personality, strengths, weaknesses, goals. What else? What else we can do? Speaking style, favorite type of cheese. And then we can go into chat and be like, hey, can you use the character template to tell me more about Harkin? Huh, interesting. So yeah, so you can see it's on this unknown age. If I bring up this is the what I have for Harkin. Charming, sense of serving. We have speaking. It's used oily a lot, but that's because I think we've got so little information here. Now let's do the same for Kiara. Oh, okay. Oh my god, it didn't stop me. I was kind of worried that I would get like moderated from GPT-4 Mini. Okay, an aged cheddar that has a strong character that reflects her own tenacity and depth. You know, webs. But you can see here, we've got, without adding into the prompt, this is how we want you to format codex entries. And without having to like copy and paste and say, please use this structure, you can just refer to a codex entry and just get it done and out there. So yeah, it also might be that you have certain tropes that you want to contain in the story, or archetypes that you're aiming for. So by including a codex entry and like mentioning it, you can use these to prime the AI with the information that you consider the most important. So let's say so I'm just gonna ask what's the trickster archetype. I'm just gonna get a little summary. Type. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna then make. Oh my god. We're just gonna have so many comments on this video, just it being like, it's breaking up, it's back again, it's breaking up, it's back again. It's like we're in a relationship. And then let's say, let's evaluate Perrin through the... Oh, will the recording be fine? Oh, that's fine then. The trickster mentor archetype. So you can kind of do these things. Okay, so and then say if we want to do this, given this, please rewrite his codex entry. Given this, please rewrite his codex entry using the, what was it called? The character sheet. What did I call it? Can't even remember now. Template. Oh, good choice there. But yeah, we have then these kind of like the character bios, and this like same principle would would work if we were then going on to like location descriptions, or we wanted like a template for like how lore was going to be told. Like, you know, say whenever we lore entry, it's always going to be formatted as if it's a historical textbook. Absolutely, yeah. Everyone, you still need to like comment loads just to like falsify the numbers, right? Like, just make it look as if it was a really engaging stream. Just keep everyone comment your favorite cheese. That's what we're gonna do. We're all gonna mention our favorite cheeses and just really confuse everyone. But yeah, so you can use these to just kind of like create those shortcuts, get there, have your templates. I was talking about lore and how you can like written in the style of like a historical author from your fantasy world or whatever. Like, you could get these things, or you could be like religious notation, or it might be that you want it really like factual, punctual, bullet points. Bam, you can make a codex entry that you can then call upon to reformat everything, so you don't have to think about it. Like, of course, you're going to want to then go in afterwards, remove any AI-isms, just try things out, edit. I always like every codex entry, edit it so it sounds in your voice, because if you accidentally have any AI-isms in there or something that doesn't sound like the tone of your book, it is going to be found and like pulled upon and used, and then it just means more editing for you later down the line, which kind of sucks, you know. And so save future you from woes and look them out. Ooh, so hungry. Okay, my favorite would be a smoked applewood, like a smoked cheddar. I love the flavor. I think it gives it a lovely flavor. Or goat's cheese. Yeah. They both sound posh, and I have no idea what either of them are. Okay, so the next kind of way we can use the codex to help our prompting without oh, thank you. No, I'm particularly fond of them because it means I don't have to remember what I'm saying either. But the next way that you can use codex entries to help prompting without going into the prompts is as macros. So they're like short. Basically, it's a shortcut to a phrase. Like, they're like Google definition. If like you were to go on and search, as I did to write this, is like a single instruction that expands automatically into a set of instructions to perform a particular task. I.e., something we can type, so we don't have to type out the full message. Essentially, we're gonna like things like Corey's elevator pitch. We have this here, and I've already got it copied. So story pitch. A 3-sentence elevator pitch paragraph based on the following rules. The first sentence introduces the main character and describes their initial situation. The second sentence begins with the word when and describes the inciting incident. And the third sentence begins with the word now and describes what must happen for the character to win the objective. And then we give a bit of format of like, don't use markdown, only write in a single paragraph. It's a macro. So we're going to say, please use the story pitch to write 3 potential stories for Let's pick a minor character. Ooh, Feta and Basil. Oh my god, everyone, you have like such fine tastes. Okay, let's pick a character. Let's go for Marlena. She's dead, so it'll be interesting. I'm just using GPT-4 Mini, like, because it means I don't have to like actually change the models. And also like if it works for like the mini models, we know it's going to work with the better ones. And also Claude might be down. It's probably down. It's always down. Okay, so Marlena Asta is a passionate historian. When she discovers a forbidden archive, she's thrust into a conspiracy, and now she must navigate a treacherous path, balancing a thirst for knowledge with the safety of her loved ones to prevent a dark force from reclaiming its influence. Stumbles upon an ancient artifact. I mean, this is basically her actual story. She is researching. She discovers about the Ice Age and like what happened, and unfortunately for her, the powerful figures then unalived her. So this last bit never happened. But you can see here, I was just like, okay, use a macro. Please use the story pitch. You give it the story pitch, and it's like, okay, bum bum bum, I can do. So much easier than like having to go and like make your own prompt for story pitch developing, which you would then have to say we've done that. We were like, okay, let's say we had our story pitch, let's call it that, and then we're like, okay, we've finished. We don't really need the story pitch there anymore. We want to save on tokens. So then we're like, okay, well, let's go back. We've got to go to the general purpose back. We then select our model, go, keep typing, and then we're like, oh, but I then want to use this framework, and then you're like, okay, go switch AI. It's so much easier to just be like, okay, bam, story, type it in. We've got the codex entries there. They're really simple, so you can just copy and paste them into another series if you really need to. Or you could have what I like doing is having a templates book. So say if we had, okay, let's make this, create novel. We're going to call this templates by BBC Kate, and then I'm going to go other story pitch. Yeah, of course. Sorry, I always have it zoomed out when I'm on my smaller screen. There you go. Boop. I might be like, okay, well, we've got a story pitch. I then may want I might then be like, okay, well, I want my character template, and in it we have the name, occupation, age, magic abilities, dance style, favorite cheese, what they are doing at 3 a.m. in the morning. We might also then have a codex template for disaster brainstorming, and it could be when given a story pitch. Don't need to call it story pitch. Please brainstorm three lists of potential disasters that may occur during this period, may occur during this story. I want each list to focus on something else, on different aspects. So list one could be interpersonal disasters, i.e. Between our protagonists and their allies, the community, or other sorts of social-based holdbacks for the story. The second one might be external forces succeeding in their plots. So say we had Marlena, those external forces, and move forward on the proverbial chessboard. And then our third type might be as the result of something the character, the protagonist, has explicitly done in earlier chapters of the story. I would like 10 examples for each list. Okay, so it might be like you're doing a thing, you've got your character, you've brainstormed them, you've got them in, you've now got your story pitch that you've used, and then you're like, okay, disaster brainstorming, go. And you're like, okay, Kate, you've made some codex entries, cool, what now? Like, they're only there for one story. Like, what use are they? But say if you had a library of your templates, it might be then whenever you make a book, you go create novel, use template novel, and then you go to your templates, and then you're like, okay, well, I only want the codex. And you're then like, okay, create. And now you've created a novel using the templates. You can rename this, I don't know, only cats allowed. And we go back and you can see we've got our templates novel that we were working on, but we've now also got this other book that we can start our brainstorming with. We have all this there. We could have maybe put them into like some kind of like grouping. Maybe we had these all, let's all call, I mean, I do behind the scenes, but this would be, let's call this BS, like for brainstorming, not anything else. And it might be then that we're like, okay, well, let's make a custom category. We're going to call that custom category brainstorming templates. And then we're like, okay, well, yes. And we know that we're only going to be using the other type for it. So we're like, okay, we can leave that there, put that there. And then we have like, if we wanted to add a detail, we could, but we don't need to. So we've got this, we've got our brainstorming, click off. And now we have brainstorming templates. So then as we start our novel and our brainstorming, we've got all of these here already and they're kept just nicely all together. And I think that's a really cool way of kind of like building things up, especially like while you can't share codex entries, having like the story that, or like having your blank book. I know Angie from Bite Size Booksmith, join her community. She uses like codex templates for like tropes, and like you can do like a lot of brainstorming with that and then put it in kind of your story and like copy it. Really good. Like, would thoroughly recommend this. I didn't even put this in the class notes, so this is just a bit of a Kate tangent of being like, oh yeah, that thing really works, huh? So what was next in my notes? Okay, yes. So analysis questions regarding your work, asking the AI to take on a persona. So let's go back into our templates. Now we're like, okay, well, we want to make something. Let's say this is a persona. Please take on the persona of the character mentioned. You will draw from their codex entry to help characterization. If there is anything not explicitly said, you can infer the details. I will correct if necessary. And then, okay, we're like that. We've got our persona. I might then be in chat and be like, okay, well, Hunter, we need a character. Let's call this Bill. Bill is a flower pot man. He is 1 foot tall, loves gardening and mischief, and is fascinated by frogs. So that, like, you've kind of given some instruction, and like it's like, okay, well, you don't have to write. So like I have a character prompt. So I have a character prompt creation test, I have the chat with people, character interrogation, but you could also just do this and have like your prompt here. You don't need to write a prompt for every single thing when you can just like stick it in your codex. Another thing is like how to name characters. So Corey and I were testing this out. We wanted to see if there was a way of like trying to avoid AI-based names for like a first pass. So we were kind of thinking, okay, well, let's give this a go. So like things we want to consider is like if a character has like, or things we're going to give. Let's call this naming conventions. Like these names are probably not, these words like codex names are probably not going to come up in like your average like thing. So then I might be like, okay, well, please use these guidelines to help name characters. So like if a character has a complex first name, max 3 syllables, they have a simple last name, or vice versa. The first and last names can't begin with the same letter. The last letter of the first name shouldn't be the same as the first letter of the last name. Like you wouldn't want Eloise Edgar, for example, because it's a little bit clunky. Or Janet Taylor, because then you've got to like, it's the overpronunciation. I mean, obviously that happens in real life, but like for books, it just looks a bit weird. The first and last names shouldn't rhyme. The name should be pronounceable as well, because we want that as authors. I'm going to put like, you should use a variety of nationalities and influences unless otherwise specified. Draw from the most common baby names for the period. However, don't exclusively suggest these. It might be then like if you were doing fantasy, you wouldn't go for that, but like if you're going for like, you know, a normal book, like a modern day time now book, it might be like, well, my book is set in wherever. So let's go. I'm writing a book set in 2025. The protagonist is 25 and so was born in 2000. Please use the naming conventions to suggest 30 names for her. I'm gonna go with she lives in where's she gonna live? She's going to live in I'm trying to think of somewhere. She lives I mean, obviously I could do like England because then I'd be able to judge, I guess. Okay, I'm gonna go she lives in Cardiff. And then let's go for a reasoning model. That was what Corey was suggesting. No codex, Gemini Flash Thinking. And yeah, let's just see how that does. We're going for the thinking, so it's trying to actually see if it will use the naming conventions to help. Okay, immediately, I know these names are familiar. They sound like names that people of that are 25, that the common names that were going around. None of these seem particularly like out there. Let's now sorry, I forgot to mention I wanted a first and last name. Let's try again. So yeah, like Jones is like the Smith of Wales, Thomas, yeah. So like I'm seeing all these and immediately I'm like, yep, they all feel real. And also they don't feel particularly AI-ismy. Like we're not seeing any Blackwoods or things like that. They're kind of like they are all feeling grounded. So now let's try this. I've not tried this, but let's try this with so let's go back into general flash thinking. I am writing a book set in a fantasy world. The culture is the culture has language origins in German and Polish roots. However, names must be more than syllable. Only nicknames are one. It is a form of familiarity. Please suggest 10 male and 10 female names using the naming conventions. Obviously, if you were actually doing a fantasy novel, you would want to give more information, but we're just trying to be like, okay, well, what can we do that isn't instantly giving names that sound like AI-isms? Okay, I like that it's given suggestions for the Radoslav, Frederick, Bogdan, Zygmunt. Huh. Jadwiga, Mirosława. Yeah, I mean, I like all these names. They all feel like names that I would happily use in my story. Let's now combine them with surnames. Let's go. Surnames in this culture are based on geographical proximity, geographical features, or professions. Let's go with that. We're seeing then if we're like, if it's going to suggest some Blackwoods is kind of what I'm wondering now. But we're trying to just get it to think. Rzeczka, Jeżony, Doliniec, Schmidt, Valchik, Lishnik. Valdemar Volgrunt. Volgrunt. That sounds, yeah, okay. I mean, these names feel a lot more interesting to me than others you get from just like give me 10 names. What do you guys feel like? How do you feel seeing like these name generations versus what you get from bog standard AI? I might try this. Let's see how it works with Nova Bezos. Yeah, I mean, we all miss Alara Chen. I mean, I'm kind of now wondering with less. So I've given it the context of Nova Be. Did I give it the context of Nova Bezos? That's a question. One moment, let me check because this was the no code. Okay, interesting. So this didn't actually give the Nova Bezos a codex entry because I forgot that this doesn't have. However, interesting. Okay. Based on the name, it has a slightly Eastern European or a Slavic feel, perhaps with a touch of New World influence given the Nova prefix. Okay. And then it's immediately gone for that as an inspiration. So even though we have an Elena, we don't have an Alara, but we have an Elena. But like it's instantly started giving more interesting names. So let's try that again, but this time going general purpose full codex. And try that again. I'm kind of curious now based on, because obviously we've got some names already there. Yeah. Yeah, I realized that. Lysander Ford, Renan Shaw, Elise Franc, Tobias Bell, Xander Holt, Samir Vos, Irina Maite, Aline Vos. Okay, well, so it's got some repeats. Zelda. Ligia. Oh, okay, so it has. So it's interesting. It's taken some names from there. Yeah, you have to tell Jen her name's an AIism. Okay, interesting. So obviously it's taken some. Let's go with names not already in our story. Emrys Vance, Jensen, Linus Carr, Rufus, Alaric. Alaric, maybe? I've heard Alaric before. I don't know if it's from a book or from AI. Serafina Klein, Ottilie, Junper, Beatrix, Verity, Imogen, Romilly, Theodore. Yeah, I mean, these feel like these don't feel like immediate AIisms are coming at us. Obviously, like there will be things that come through, but it's just a way of getting started and kind of making those try out. Does anyone else have any ideas of things to add to the naming conventions that we've got here, like anything you want to try out, I would always be interested in seeing those. I will give you all a minute. Um, and I spend that time while I'm waiting to see if anyone has any suggestions by reading about the latest update we're doing behind the scenes. Yeah, so I'll keep waiting in case anyone wants, but I'll just go on. But yes, you have okay. Oh my god, so we have our macros. That went on for a while. You can also like with your character templates, you could also do story outline. These work really well when like you're working with the outline at the same time and like you're adding your results as you go. The templates feed into your chat, which then feeds into the outline, which then keeps going. We can use any kind of outline, but we're going to take this one for now. Like, also we can like use like say this like basic hero's journey. You could then be like, okay, well you've got your plot. So let's go back to our the chat that we had with Marlena. Say if we had great. Let's map out. Yeah, this is something for you guys to enjoy. There's nothing I can do. So I'm just going to keep going for the next 8 minutes with the heroes J. Let's map out pitch 3 and it doesn't really matter what it's saying. Or like the microwave's on or something. No, my CPU is fine. The task manager is actually taking up the most of my CPU right now. Now I've opened it, so. But we can see we can use this, get our interesting. So yeah, so we've got from that, we're not having to think about it. We're just like, okay, use this template, boom, it's done. And likewise, you can do like frameworks in the same way. So some of the like the snowflake prompt I did like has basically it's a framework, like a set of instructions, but you don't have to put them in a prompt. You can just have them as a codex entry and be like, okay, I want to use this. If you're like designing a character, expanding a story idea, you can get really elaborate and complicated, or it can be super simple depending on what you want to achieve. So let's say we want to come up with a character. We have the name from our naming conventions template, and we want to flesh them out. So we have, we're then going to go back into our chat for 10 male and female names. We have this framework of card design. Let's use card design to learn more about Wilhelmina Vance. Okay, interesting. Describe right. Let's go. She's a she works in the market. we'll see what gets pulled up then, because it's saying 3 prototypes. So we've got the roles. Okay, and then like the third thing. Okay, well, let's go. I'm curious about let's go with prototype 1. Something very basic. See what secrets you can do. Let's go with prototype 1. So you can see from this prompt, it was using the world building information that I gave it. Prototype 3 possible characters. The author will pick one of these, and then you will assess how to make the character more unique and less stereotypical. Adding in unique facts. Interesting. Okay. Morse code. Oh, that's kind of quirky. Like, she's a button collector and stuff. That's really interesting. But yeah, you can use these codex things to just really like flesh things out. Now, were they the best? I mean, no, they wasn't the best character. Did I make up that template in 3 minutes when prepping for this class? Absolutely. If you have other things that you're doing, you can edit things, add them in if it's not working for you. It's really easy to, like, say for example, we're working on this. We have our character development. It might be that it might be that we are like, okay, well, I don't like this aspect. Rather than having to go click on your prompt, go to your prompt, edit it, go back to the chat, set up a new chat, blah, 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 blah. Boop, type. It's like editing as you go. Really good, really easy, gets the job done. Making a framework to help you is really simple. Okay, so before I go, I've got some additional tips, and then I will take questions. So if you have questions, type them now while I'm going over the additional tips, and then we will finish the session. So first of all, AI loves lists. If you give a list in the codex entry, you're most likely to get lists out again. But if you lay everything out in paragraphs, then that's the output. So it's very much using a show don't tell kind of vibe. Likewise, if you write, I was talking about this before, but if you write your codex entries and outlines in your own voice, it will help the AI mimic your style. The more of your own work you give to it, rather than just AI generated input, the more like you the output will land. Like, that's one of the big things I always kind of I always hark on about, but no, it's just like that is the thing. Give your codex entries names that you won't be likely to use in a story, and mark them as untracked so you don't get all like the highlights, or you can mark them as like not used, whatever. Just keep an eye out. Like, that's why I like to do like spellings that are slightly wrong or things like that, because then it doesn't accidentally get brought into the context. And also type your codex reference entries, then you can easily filter them or even add them to their own custom category. So say we have in our codex, we have say we didn't have the behind the scenes like category, and I just wanted to go, so I wanted to go filter by tag BTS, and then I could be like, oh, are there any so we don't have that. Let me go and minimize all these, and then wait, let me go on here, display settings, collapse all, open up the others. I'm then going to add was this capital? Okay. say this is BTS and this was also behind the scenes. And we just wanted to find, and you didn't have a custom category for it. You can go filter by tag, behind the scenes, and you can see them all there. Obviously, I've just realized they got put into the group, but like if the group wasn't at the top, makes it much easier when you're doing your research. You don't see anything else. It's all kind of just there and clear. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I really don't know what's going on. Like everything sounds fine on my end. So I don't know. The internet is cursed. And on that lovely note, I will see you all on Wednesday. Or if you're in Bite Size Booksmith community, I'll see you in an hour's time. I'm going to go and make some dinner. And then I will be with you. So, yeah. Bye, guys.